Hello out there, record hunter. Cheers. Today's video, I was going to do like a bunch of my live albums, like the best of my live albums, but I decided to save that for another time because I started pulling the punk records, and I didn't realize how many live punk albums I have. So I'm going to show you pretty much all my live albums, with the exception of um, my Misfits records, because I have like a lot of live bootleg Misfits. So what I am going to show you, I'll just show you one live bootleg and one official album by the Misfits because I want to save that for another video. Here's Evil Live. This came out in 1987. I picked this up when I was in high school. It has 20 Eyes and Astro Zombies, London Dungeons, Nike A Go-Go, and Hate Breeders. I remember when I was a kid, I used to listen to it on headphones, and there's like some weird little distortion that made it sound really a little high voice, and I used to always listen to that, and sometimes I was high, or I was a little drunk, and listen to my headphones, and always sound like little demons were singing with Danzig. I always got a kick out of that. And then there's this live album. This was recorded off the soundboard. And this is live in 1981. If you don't know this song, this Christmas 81. During the song London Dungeon, it messed up a little bit. I don't know if the guitars went out of tune or something, and then they started making fun of Bobby Steele, and I think that's why I didn't make an official live record. But the other one didn't. Evil Live is pretty good too, but this one may be better or just as good. Okay, Agnostic Front, Live at CBGB's. This is probably the greatest live punk album, I have to say. It's going to definitely be, if I do a top 20, this is going to be in my top 20 live albums of all time for sure. I bought this when I was in high school. Bought this the day it came out. Me and my buddies went to Pravda Records, and this came out in '89. And then they were playing Crucified on MTV on Headbangers Ball back in the day. Okay, Black Flag. Who's got the 10? Who's got the 10 and a half? This came out in 1986, and this was right before they broke up. So. And it had a bunch of good songs on here, like Loose Nut and In My Head, Bastard Love, My War. This opened me up to songs I didn't know by Black Flag, because at the time, before I had this record, I only knew like Damaged and like the singles, Six Pack and Nervous Breakdown, and I had the singles. And Gimme's on that. So, okay. Exploited. Live at the White House. Great live album. I have this by him, and he makes fun of Jello Biafra on here, but this is a really good live album. I remember my buddy in high school used to have this album cover as a back patch on the back of on his jacket. And then there's this Alive and Loud record. Hold on, getting ahead of myself. When did this come out? 86, I believe. It's recorded in 85. I think it came out in 86. And then I had this Live and Loud record. Not as good as the Live at the White House, which actually wasn't recorded live at the White House. This is from 87. Live and Loud series. Okay, Dead Kennedys, a skateboard party. You see that. So like 1982 when recorded live, 1982, 9/13 in Satellite Country. Okay, well this is pretty cool because D.H. Peligro just joined the band, and he blasts through the songs pretty fast. It's almost like when they did Bedtime for Democracy, when it was like a hardcore album. It's pretty good, like, especially the old songs, like how fast they're playing and how tight they are by this time. Okay, Bad Brains. live. Okay, this came out in 80, 88, and it's songs from the 86-87 tour, the Eye Against Eye tour. They released also an album not too long ago from 82, a live record, but I don't have that. That's probably going to be better. But that one's pretty good. Okay, this when I was growing up, this was the definitive punk movie. When I was 15 years old, boy did this like change my life. um, Black Flag, The Germs, Catholic Discipline, X, Circle Jerks, Alice Bag, Fear. Like I said in my last video, I just met Lee Ving from Fear. That was kind of a big deal. And then this week, I just met Donnie Balls from the Germs. Pretty cool guy. He's playing like he's touring, DJing like glam rock, some like really wild to hear like songs I never heard before. Like I was so amazed about how many glam rock bands there were. It makes sense because it's like any scene that there should be lots of bands, but he probably had at least 345s of all different bands from the 70s. And I just, I only know, and he didn't even really play any of the super popular stuff. I mean, I only know about 30 of them, and he played 300, and there's even more. Amazing. Oh, he has a show called Wired Up. You can look it up, and if you want to hear some of that stuff. Okay, well, talking about this movie, X Live. And this is it's live in cannot see the date. Okay, well, now I'm zipping through this a little bit because I just recorded this video, second time I'm recording it, and the last one I named all the songs and all the history and all the information, and I wanted to be in 50 minutes. I don't want to put out a 50-minute video, so I'm kind of blasting through this a little faster. Sorry, but okay, I'll speak a little bit about some more stuff. Okay, I saw a movie called UK Decay also when I was a kid. When I was like 15, I think I was 15. My friend Phil played me the video, and it had like a lot of like English bands, and and here's one of the bands. It was 87. And it was 87 when we watched it. This is The Addicts, Live and Loud, and this has Joker in the Pack, Chinese Takeaway, Hurt, Viva la Revolution. This is from 80. This came out in 1987, but I believe it was from 82 because I bought it later on the CD, and it doesn't say it on here. And also, this band was in that movie. Another Live and Loud. I bought this too, like when I found it in 87, I believe, 88. So this is Vice Squad, and they had Rock and Roll Massacre, Evil, Living on Dreams, Stand Strong, Stand Proud, Last Rockers, EMI, Upright Citizen. Like Becky Bondage, when I was 15-year-old me, had a little crush on Becky Bondage. And this is one of the bands I always wish I could have seen. She only came twice that I know of, at least during the whole time I've listened to Vice Squad since 87. She played Milwaukee Metal Fest one year. And I was supposed to go with some friends, but something happened and it was weird. I wasn't able to go. And then they played the Holiday in the Suns in California in 2009. But I just didn't have the dough to go. And those are my only two opportunities to ever see Vice Squad or Becky Bondage. Hopefully, someday she'll come back to the States and play Chicago. But, what can you do? Maybe someday I'll have enough money to go to England and go see her. Okay, let's see. Flipper, 1983, live at CBGB's. This was originally a Roar cassette. Came out in 1984. originally, and then they re-released it on vinyl in 2005. Here's that song, Ha 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 Ha. Love that song. Okay, the Dickies, I Got Live, Even If You Don't Want It. Compilation of live sets, like from 1977 to 81. It originally was recorded on a Roar cassette too. Came out in 1986, and they released it in 2001 on vinyl. Roar was a company, I won't call it a record company, it was a cassette company, and they released all their stuff only on cassette, and then later in the 2000s, as you see, they released stuff on vinyl. I still need to pick up the first Bad Brains record that was originally recorded on cassette on Roar, and I need to pick up the New York, what was it called? It was like a Live Trash or something. I had both those on cassette. I need to pick up those on vinyl one of these days. Oh, and the Stimulators. Harley Flanagan was in the Stimulators when he was like 11 years old. But let me get back to the video. Here's Stiff Little Fingers with Hanks. It's 1980. And Nobody's Heroes, Alternative All-Stars, Suspect Device is on that. There's Wall of Voodoo, Mexican Radio is on this one. I couldn't find a date, but I bought this the same time I bought X, and I bought them at Rose Records when they were closing really cheap, like $2 or $3 a piece, and they were new. Busted at Oz. This was on my bucket list for like 30 years. I finally got a copy. This is a live album of a club called Oz. It was only open for about a year in 1981 in Chicago, before my time. And it has Naked Reagan, Strike Under, The Subverts, Effigies, DA, Silver Abuse are on this record. And it was recorded in Chicago, March 9th, 10th, and 11th, 1981. I saw a couple copies in my time, but they were always like $60 and up, and I never had the money, and I finally got a copy for a reasonable price. So, and now it's astronomical. It was $60 30 years ago, and now it's I don't even know. It's just way up there. Okay, Naked Reagan, Free Shit. Recorded in Chicago at the Metro, November 29th and 30th. I went to both these shows, 1997. It comes with a poster. I don't need to pull the poster. It's just this album cover. Okay, anybody from New York know what club this is? This is called Live at the 288. It's featuring a bunch of bands I never even heard of. Like, they're mostly new wave, but there's some punk bands on here too. French Letters, Gene Smith and the Hurricanes, the Watts, Lumpin' Prolis, the Stars That Wouldn't Shine, Operation Pluto, the Tragics, Capitile, and the Rarities. This was recorded in 1983. And it was released in 1983. It was recorded September 1983. If anybody knows anything about any of these bands or this club, leave a message in the comments. Curious who these bands are. And talking about New York, Live at CBGB's 1976, with all those famous bands that came out of CBGB's, being the Tough Darts, the Shifts, Mink DeVille, the Laughing Dogs, Manster, Sun, Stewart's Hammer, and Miamis. Remember all those bands? Remember they were really famous, and these are the bands that CBGB's must have thought were going to be the big ones. Oh, wait a minute. What? No Ramones, no Blondie, no Talking Heads, no Television, no Dead Boys, no New York Dolls. What were they thinking? None of the, at least Mink DeVille did have a little bit of popularity in the 80s, and he was pretty good. And the Tough Darts, if you can find that record, I need a copy of their record. That's a really great album. They did one record, and they did one single. I think they would have been huge if they would have stuck around. Unfortunately, they didn't. The Ramones. Talking about the Ramones? It's Alive. 1978. I just did a Ramones video, so no need to talk about this. And this Ramones live bootleg Blitzkrieg. It's from 1985, February 2nd, 1985. That's also Net Ramones. I did a Ramones, like my whole collection. It's in that video. Okay. David Johansen from New York Dolls. Live It Up, 1978. Oh, wait. Oh, my bad. This is 1982. 1982. And they do, We Gotta Get Out of This Place. Don't Bring Me Down. It's My Life. And he only does Personality Crisis. It looks like it's the only New York Dolls song he does on this. And then I meant to show this one first. This one's a little bit better. So the David Johansen Group live, and this is from 1978. And he plays, and he just plays Personality Crisis on here. That's the only New York Doll song. But you know what? If you see like the first album he did, you can usually find it pretty cheap. It's just like him on the album cover. It's not like a very... It's a terrible album cover. Like, they should have done something better. He's from the New York Dolls. Like, if he at least looked like he did when he was in New York Dolls, it probably would have done a lot better. But actually, the album sounds pretty much like the New York Dolls. So, I think it's a great album. So, I think it's self-titled, too. Okay, Night of the Living Dead Boys. Another great band from New York. And this has Caught with the Meat in Your Mouth, and let's see what else is on here. That's great. Well, everything ain't it fun's on here. It's a good album. It's Sonic Reducer. So. Sex Pistols live in 1979 in Georgia. It's a bootleg. Haven't heard that in 30 years. I can't tell you if it's great or not. It's been a long time. Let's see. MDC Live in Berlin. I believe this came out in 1988. And maybe 89. 1989, I believe it came out. And it has Dead Cops and Big Picture, Chicken Squawk, Dead Cops, John Wayne's Nazi. And then it has like some songs like Henry Kissinger and Mao Zedong, so it's probably from the. I bought this when it came out. It's from the Millions of Damn Christians tour. Okay. Angelic Upstarts, live and loud. If you're into Oi, here's some Oi for you. I'm an Upstart. Last Night Another Soldier. Cover We Gotta Get Out of This Place. Police Oppression, and White Riot, cover by The Clash. Good album. This came out in 1988. Queers, This Place Sucks. Recorded live at the Jam Room. I don't know when this came out exactly. I bought this when I saw them. I know it's really limited. I saw them at the Fireside Bowl in 97, I'd like to say. It's between 96 and 98. I bought this. It's also kind of cool. It's a picture disc, but it's also like a one-sided, it's one-sided picture disc, so pretty cool. Here's a really great hardcore band from live at CBGB's. This is Damage. If you're into like crossover, like DRI, they did one record before this, and then they did this live album. Really killer band. The first album, Super Rare. This is from 1987. Yeah, it's really rare that they made like 1,000 copies, and it's really hard to find. But it's like one of those records I've been hunting for a long time. My buddy Tim from Insult to Injury was hunting one down, and he just found one, and he just showed it to me. It's pretty cool. Okay, I got to speed this up a little bit. The fun is just never ending. Here's some government issue, and this is from 85. 84, 85. I believe it's just an EP from the same concert. 84, 85. And then I got some 7 inches. I'm going to show you. Same thing, but on a 45. Same as the EP. Here's Vom. This is live in 1978. And this is Angry Simones before they were Angry Simones. 1985, Sam Hain. Glenn Danzig after he left the Misfits. Here's a Danzig live two vinyl bootleg. Had kind of a cool like insert. Came with the Misfits sticker and a Danzig poster. It's from 1987 tour. I think I picked this up in 88 or 89. And I remember Mother of Mercy's on here, Mother, Twisted Cane, and I think maybe All Hell Breaks Loose is on here in London Dungeon. Okay, here's Ultravox Live Retro. It's from 1978. Septic Death. If you don't know who Septic Death is, this they're a hardcore band, but I would call them like prototype grindcore. It's pretty fast stuff before grindcore existed. Here's Haywire. If you're into like old COC, especially the Animosity album, you dig these guys. This is Haywire. It's from 1989. They had a couple albums, but they were half off before that. Okay, here's a couple. Here's some bands I saw up at the Fireside. The Drones and Adolf and the Piss Artist. They're old 70s bands, but they are touring together, and they had this sampler, 1998. Okay, Condemned 84, if you're in some old oi. No Way in the Battle. And that's this was released later, not like recently, maybe in the last 20 years, but it's from live 1986. Okay, here's Instigators, like live 1985. I saw these guys at the Club Dreamers in 89. Here's a Stain. It's live in 87. Here's Rollins Band, like live in 1987, right after he left Black Flag. Okay, here's the Queers, live at Fireside Bowl, 1995. No Empathy from Chicago, another Fireside release. They released a bunch of these Fireside shows, so like from July 27, 1996. And last 45 I got is absolutely my favorite, live 45. I believe they released this concert on video years later, but I wish they would release a whole album. On this record, Minor Threat, it sounds fucking better. I'd say better than the actual album. It's so fast. It's so aggressive. It has like 1-2XU, Small Man, Big Mouth, Filler, Out of Step, It Follows Me, Little Friend, and I don't want to hear it. I wish they released the whole show on a 12-inch. Well, that's it for my live punk rock records that I own. So, also want to say that I used to have Gig by Circle Jerks on CD. That was pretty good. If I find that on vinyl, I'd like to pick that up. That's another one I'm going to try to hunt down. But till next time, when the hunt is on, cheers from the Record Hunter.